Hello and welcome back. Thank you for joining me here today. We're going to talk about the fact that delay of knowledge of God, delay of joy, and perfect happiness, any form of delaying the experience, the knowing of truth, is completely unnecessary. Delay is unnecessary. So, a bit of context, practical context from modern 21st century life. We want everything now, don't we? Our societies, wherever you live, are wholly and entirely based on consumerism and convenience. Convenience, rapid. We want everything right now. And we become extremely impatient and huffy and even rude when things don't work right now. When our iPhone is lagging, we become extremely impatient. When the Wi-Fi is having a moment and it's bad, we become extremely impatient. When someone does not answer a question the way we want them to answer it, we become extremely impatient. We're so used to getting everything right now that we're extraordinarily impatient, which causes us a lot of headache in the world where everybody appears to be moving at different speeds. We all appear to have different tastes, different proclivities, habits, different preferences. We like different kinds of food, things like that. There appear to be all of these differences. You'll notice the word appear. There are no differences. We're allowing this truth to permeate and suffuse our mind to the point where this is all we experience. And you know what? Delay of awakening is needless. Your will and God's will are one. One. There is only perfect oneness. God's will for you, for me, for your ex, for your worst political enemy, for serial killers, God's will for everyone, no exception, right? There's only one of us, after all. God's will for you is perfect happiness. Perfect happiness. Because there's only perfect oneness, God's will must also be your will. Only God is. Therefore, God's will must be your will. Your will for yourself is perfect happiness. Deep down, you could choose to hide this. You could choose to deny it. And perhaps you're doing that right now, saying, no, I want to hurt myself. I want to harm myself. I need multiple more lifetimes of excess activity and frustration and suffering. And that's what I want. So be it. This is the power of our mind. Want that, you'll see it. Want the peace of God and nothing else? What do you then see? This is why this is a workbook lesson. I want the peace of God. We're invited to want the peace of God and nothing else. We're invited to accept that our will and God's will are one, and God's will for us is perfect happiness. Therefore, our own will for ourselves is perfect happiness, peace. joy, limitless joy, boundlessness. This is our will. Every moment of every day is an opportunity to experience this. I've said a couple of times recently on these videos that our entire experience here in the world is an opportunity for awakening. It is, in a manner of speaking, the raw material for awakening. Anything that is not perfectly and completely joyous is an opportunity for forgiveness. And anything that is completely joyous here in the world is symbolic of who we really are, of our limitlessness as Christ, of our perfect joy, love, our magnificence as Christ, God's creation, the Son of God. It's an opportunity for awakening on a platter, a gift. We're invited to see it that way. We can experience this peace right now. Delay is needless. And Jesus tells us here in this next section of the text that we should capitalize on these opportunities. We should recognize these opportunities to awaken and, well, seize them. Do your forgiveness work. Extend love to the Son of God right now in the present moment. And not because these moments won't come again, but because delay is needless. There is no point in delaying. So if you feel impatient, I invite you to apply some of this urgency that you feel in your business life, that you feel in your personal life here in the world, to your spiritual practice and your walk. Apply this urgency. Do it joyfully. Your will is perfect happiness. And so because your will is perfect happiness, my will is perfect happiness, your worst enemy's will is perfect happiness. Now, this person may or may not be aware of it. You may or may not be aware of it for that matter. But our will is perfect happiness. So we can all deep down agree on that. You can deny that all you want, by the way. We have the ability and the option to deny truth. We've done it and we've been doing it, which is why we appear to be this. Just saying. So we're invited to accept truth just as it is. We're invited to accept atonement. In other words, the correction of our inner teacher for ourselves. Our brother's will is our will, which is God's will. It's the same. We can all deep down agree on this. We, of course, are free to disagree on everything else. No problem. That happens. But we can all agree that we want happiness and not to suffer. Deep down, and you know that's true, or you would not be interested in spirituality. You simply would not be. And of course, there are plenty of people here in the world who are not yet. Now, when they become interested and the proverbial light goes on, it's up to them, really. It's none of our concern or business. Our job here is to simply wake up right now, to extend the Holy Spirit, to extend love to our brother, to do our own forgiveness work right now. Knowing through our own experience as we do it, that it has a tremendous ripple effect on every living thing. It spreads love, the love of God. Minds begin to awaken as we forgive everything that is not wholly joyous in our life. It has a tremendous ripple effect. So this section that we've come to now in the text is section 7 of chapter 9. It's called the two evaluations. And the important point here is that we're conflicted. If you don't feel conflicted right now, that's perfectly great. We're conflicted here in the world because we hold two very different images of ourselves. One is, the way the Holy Spirit sees us. The other is the way the ego sees us, individuals in competition with one another, at war, basically, all of that in a tense and never-ending struggle where there doesn't appear to be any way out. Yet we know the way, because that way is in our mind. It's in our mind. The Holy Spirit looks upon who we really are. His judgment is based on the truth of who we really are. So this judgment of our perfect oneness with God, in God, our perfect oneness, this judgment of the Holy Spirit must be in our mind because He is. He is. It is. This is a very important point. The Holy Spirit, our inner teacher, is part of our mind. It is that part of our mind that's known by many names, including the voice for God. This is the part of our mind that speaks truly, that speaks to us of who we are and invites us to forgive. All of the dramatic images that pop up in our experience. Looking beyond the surface level drama to the truth, to the essence of who our brother is, ourself, capital S. The Holy Spirit is in our mind. This is why in this series of videos, I refer to the Holy Spirit as our inner teacher. The emphasis on inner cannot possibly be understated. Inner teacher, part of our mind. Not some foreign power that's separate from us and is watching us from afar, like Zeus and all the gods on Olympus, messing with some mortals because we don't like them and they didn't give a big enough sacrifice of oxen and bulls and send all of their people to our temple at the right time and the right day. So we're going to punish some, we're going to love on some others. We're just going to manipulate all phenomena. No, that's not the way it works. And that's mythology, right? The way that it works is that the Holy Spirit is part of our mind, not a separate entity. Therefore, the judgment of us as the healed, perfect Son of God is in our mind. There's one mind. The Holy Spirit is shared. Everything real is shared. Why? There's only perfect oneness. Where we've gotten into the hell of suffering is when we've decided that we're cut off from this oneness, and we want to go play alone by our individual little selves. Well, clearly that's not working out for you because you're interested in this course. I mean, it makes no difference whether you're a long-time course student or whether you're just picking this material up for the first time, or you just started, or even if you've never started, you're interested in this, because let's all be perfectly honest, there's a lot of other content out there. So we have a choice in the present moment between the Holy Spirit and the ego, the voice for God, or little individual suffering self. We have a choice between light or dark, between truth or illusion. And these two evaluations of ourselves are fundamentally different. So much so that they don't communicate with one another. And why should they? Of these two choices, only one is real. The other one does not exist. It is literally like a passing cloud. It is a fabrication. There's only perfect oneness, and we're invited to come back to the powerful, powerful simplicity of that idea and all of the other powerfully simple, disarmingly simple ideas here from A Course in Miracles, because truth is so obvious that we're particularly apt to overlook it. We do this to ourselves all the time in the world when we think about it, right? I mean, how many times recently even have you overcomplicated things? Have you thought that a solution to an issue that you yourself created can't possibly be so simple? It can't possibly be that simple. There's got to be more to it than that. So I'm going to go off and create all of this other drama. And, we can name multiple examples from our own lifetimes of where we've overthought things. So we're invited to accept that salvation, reality, truth is very, very, very simple. We don't make it easy for ourselves, but it's very simple. So we're invited to return to this simplicity over and over and over again. We're invited to accept what this course refers to as atonement for ourselves, what we talked about a few minutes ago, the correction of our inner teacher. Central to this acceptance is the acknowledgement that the separation, this perceived separation between us and God never occurred. It is impossible because only God is. And we're perfectly at home in God as part of God. We're inseparable. God is the only reality. And we're part of this reality. Not 8 billion individual physical organism, self-sustaining survival unit, compound parts, but one. We're not a body. We all know that. Yes, and I am fully aware that our societies and our parents and our biology textbooks insist otherwise. So, question for you, what is it that has drawn you to the spiritual path? This is a question that we can and actually should really all ask ourselves. What is it that's drawn me to this material? What is it? Because there's a lot of other content out there on the internet, isn't there? There are a lot of other videos that talk about different things that show different things. There's a lot of other content out there. You're here. So, what is it about the spiritual path that's attracting you? No matter what form the answer takes, the content of that, the essence of the answer is all exactly the same. You're listening to the call of our inner teacher who's telling you to watch this. When something, anything, lands for you on this video or any of these videos or any video, any spiritual book, when something really hits home and connects, that is your inner teacher speaking to you. The voice of our inner teacher is what has you interested in this course in the first place. It's what has you interested in spirituality. You're listening to the call, for which I thank you. I can't thank you enough for that. That is the most important offering that you could ever give anyone, anywhere, anytime. There's no close second. Your dedication and commitment to your spiritual practice is fundamentally, without a doubt, the most important offering you could ever make. And by paying attention, you're listening. So I invite you to continue to listen. Delay is completely needless. You can experience the peace of God. It's eternal. It's always present. You can experience that if you choose right now. So, along the way, even though it's true that we can and we're invited to experience the peace of God right now, we have a process, what looks like a process, and it might actually look like a long process in front of us. Along the way, you have guides, you have help and assistance in many different forms. First and foremost is the assistance and the guidance of our inner teacher. You may call our inner teacher whatever you like. You don't have to call it the Holy Spirit. That's what it goes by here in A Course in Miracles, among other names, actually, by the way. You can call your inner teacher whatever you want to call it. It's just a name. What's important is that you're connected with it and that you follow its guidance. That's the important thing. It looks to us here in the world like this is a process and that things appear to play out over this wild invention of ours that we call linear time. Wild invention. So while this appears to be happening, and this invention called a second, what is that? Really? Turns into a minute, random term, turns into an hour, again, completely made up and fabricated random term. What is that actually? Days, weeks, months, years, decades, lifetimes. Well, this appears to be playing out in time. Questions are going to arise on the path. And again, you have guidance and assistance. First and foremost is your inner teacher. Then you have guidance in the form of human teachers. Well, this is a pixelated image on your screen, but you're welcome to ask the pixelated image on your screen any questions that you like. Part of my aim in offering these videos is to have a place, a safe and an active place for some discussion of spirituality. Questions do come up. Some days it feels like you have more questions than answers. So if you have one that you'd like to just type out and send here on YouTube, you're more than welcome to do just that. And if you have not yet subscribed, I'd love to have you join us. We're going through the text of A Course in Miracles, and there are a handful of videos every week that appear here on the channel. The subscription button's here in the corner. Go ahead and click on that. We'd love to have you join us, and I will see you back here on the next video. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.